Thanks for joining us on the John Mendola Show. We are driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Center, so let's talk Scranton Knights Wrestling. Joining us is the head coach, Jim Morgan. Well, Jim, let's talk about your team this year. You're having some success, and guys are doing a good job. And most weight classes are being filled, which is good, and we're hearing that a little bit more this year. It seems like it's a little upswing as far as some teams filling the weights. Let's talk about the lower weights first there at Scranton.
Yes. To start, we have a freshman at 106. His name is Willie Evanitsky. He has an older brother who's also on the team. For a freshman, he's having a very good year. His record is 20-6. We've been to some pretty tough preseason tournaments. He's placed in the top 4 in them. He's always been one of the best wrestlers through the elementary and junior high program coming up, and he's came up and almost has the same success. Even though he's young, he doesn't quite wrestle like a freshman. He's pretty aggressive, and he's getting better as the year has gone on.
Take us through 113. Talk about some experience you have there.
All right. Yeah, we have a junior there, Josh Rivera. He's 19-12 on the year. But coming from last year where he was a little bit under 500 during his first full year of wrestling, he's really improved. He's very physical and strong get for the weight, and he continuously gets better. He's probably beaten 4 or 5 kids who beat him last year, and he's just becoming more consistent. At 120, we have Jacob Burgett, who is another freshman, another very good freshman that we have. I think he's 27-6 on the year, and he's beaten a lot of good kids. And to have a freshman who wins 27 matches this early in the season was a sign that shows how good he is, especially almost all of his losses are the kids who were regional qualifiers, state qualifiers. So he's another freshman that's really stepped in and competed great. Those 2 freshmen that we've had were an improvement over anything that we've had. So, well, just those 2 freshmen, they stepped up, and I think we had a lot of guys coming back, but we weren't really sure what we had with them. And since we've gotten a whole lot out of them, I think that's what put the season that we've had. I think that's the reason why the school's having the best year that it's probably ever had, because these freshmen have really stepped up and given us a lot.
Jim, take us through 126 and 132 there for the Scranton Knights.
126 is a weight that we struggled to fill for a lot of the year because of injuries and things of that nature. But right now we have Kevin Flores, who is coming off an injury in the beginning of the season. He's working his way back into shape and into the lineup. He's probably got about a 500 record, and he's a junior. But I feel at the end of the year, when we finally get him at 100%, I think he'll make some noise. At 132 is probably one of our top wrestlers, is Rui Evanitsky. I'm not sure exactly where he's ranked in the state at the moment, but he's been in that 6-7 range. He was a district runner-up last year. I think he's 27-3 this year. He's beaten multiple state qualifiers. He's beaten the state runner-up from last year. He's having a really good year, and we're expecting a lot out of him.
That's impressive when you're mowing down opponents this early in the season. So no big surprises are going to come up from him. But you mentioned where he's at in the state. That's awesome. And, of course, at the AAA level will be pretty challenging. Let's head up through the middleweights, Jim, starting at 138.
138, we have another junior who's a returner. His name's Ada McNally. He was also a district runner-up last year at 113. So he's kind of filling his way up into the weight. He's a little bit small for the weight yet, but since we have Rui at 132, he's working his way up there. He's still having a very good year. I'm looking, he's 21-5 on the year. And again, he is someone, since I feel like he's adjusting to the weight throughout the year, that he just continually is getting better. And we're looking for him to possibly be in the district finals again. At 145, we have Burton Stuckert, who is yet another junior. He is a kid who pretty much started last year as well. He had a struggle, some growing pains. He might have only won 4 matches, and this year he has a record of 15-17. He's probably the hardest worker that we have. He's a kid that I think you root for the most on the team, and to see him to start to get some success now is a good feeling, and we're hoping he just keeps improving. I think if he keeps improving like he is, next year will be a very good year for him.
How about at 152, Jim?
152, we have a senior who's Kazim Bakriev. He was third in districts last year and fourth in regional. So last year he was a match away from going to the state tournament. He's 23-4 on the year. He just won his 99th career match, so hopefully by next week he'll get 100. He's been with our program all 4 years. He's continuing to get better. He's placed in districts all 3 years. We're hoping finally this year he breaks through at regionals, gets to state. He's another kid. I think he's ranked 11th or 12th in the state. He's just he's not very technical. He's just a strong, mean Russian kid.
Well, there's something to be said for being tough out on the mat, and he's had a lot of success, as you mentioned, closing in on 100 wins. And as we continue, how about 160 and up to $170 and more?
Yeah. All right, between 52 and 70, it's kind of like will be our version of like the Murderers Row. At 160, we have Andrew Burgett, who is another junior. He was sixth in districts last year, but he was sixth after an injury default in the semi, so he defaulted down to sixth. He's having a breakout year. I think he's 26-3, and he's also ranked, 15th or 16th in the state. He is just a monster when he gets on top. He's very good with the tilts, all kinds of turns. He's another one who last year he might have had like a 20-something and 18 record, but over the summer he's just gained about 25 pounds. He really grew into his body, and he's been probably the one who's really jumped out. He's the one that I think he surprised a lot of people with how good he's gotten. He's another one at the end of the year. We're hoping to play some high districts, possibly making a run and making the state tournament. At 170, we have Niaz Bakradze, who is a returning district champion. He's probably, I would say, our leader and our top guy. I think he has 120-some wins at the moment. He's placed in districts all 3 years. He's 27-2 on the year. This year he's already beaten a couple different kids who were ranked high in the state this year. He beat a guy who was ranked 1 at a certain time. He beat another kid who was ranked 3 at a certain time. So over the last couple of years, he's been the most consistent guy that we've had. And I'm just hoping that this year he finally pulls it together in the postseason. I know last year was disappointing for him because he had such a good run, and he got to those regional semis and fell a little bit short. So I'm hoping he uses that motivation to get through, get to states, and hopefully place high. With him, we're expecting him, hopefully, if it's possible, get to the state finals.
Be pretty impressive, and you said he's knocked off at one time a number 1 and a number 3 this year as well. So great to see and great to hear about. Talk about any other guys that are filling the lineup there at Scranton?
Yeah, at 182, we have another kid who's been around for a long time, Isaiah Burgett. He's the last one of our lineup Burgetts. He's a senior. He's been very consistent for us, too. He was 4th in district last year. This year he might be like 18-11, but he's had a monster of a schedule. It seems no matter what tournament we go to, he faces the toughest weight, or if we wrestle a team, no matter what team it is, it seems like he's got their best kid. So he's actually beat up a little bit now, but we'll give him a little bit of a break now. Our schedule breaks up a little bit, but he's going to be battle tested for the end of the year. Again, he's one of our most consistent guys. He's the one kid that you can always count on. For the last 3 years, he's won about 20-some matches. And he's the type of kid that, if you have him on your team, that he's just going to do his job for you.
Jim Morgan, the Scranton High School wrestling coach here on the John Mendola Show. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers. No, Jim, before you know it, it will be the individual district championships, and you mentioned you want to get some guys through. What's it like as you head to regionals? Nothing ever changes, it seems, with regionals when you go down to the Lehigh Valley and face that competition. Back when you and your brother wrestled, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. You face those guys that are like 13 and 19, and they pull the upset on some of those District 2 guys or guys from their own district.
Yeah, they're just so tough down there. Just the way they compete. With them, they have probably 7 or 8 dates on the schedule where they face top ranked competition. They go to the best tournaments. They always beat each other up down there. So they're ready to go at the end of there. They know how to wrestle in those close matches. But I think it's a little bit different with us now. I know there's certain teams in our area. We're trying to do it where we get down there and see those teams more, try to get out there with that competition. So we're trying to emulate like their success, like their way to do it. So we're hoping that we're the same. We have the same mentality when we go down there now. I know my first couple of years, some of our guys would be a little bit in awe when they went down there. So hopefully now with the experience that we've been getting, that we'll be down there and ready to go.
Jim Morgan, the Scranton High School wrestling coach here on the John Mendola Show. Jim, always great catching up with you, and you guys did some great things back in the day, and you're doing some great things coaching right now, and continued success there, and we'll be seeing how you guys do at districts and rooting for you guys when regionals come, okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Jim Morgan, Scranton High School, here on the John Mendola Show. We're talking wrestling. We're driven by McCarthy Tire and Automotive Centers.